Iran is retaliating again. Now, Israel did carry out some strikes in between. So Israel started the operations. Iran retaliated this morning. But before that, Israel carried out even more strikes this morning. And now Iran is retaliating again. And I'm guessing this is all the same. But we again have a hit in Tel Aviv. This is a live feed from the Tel Aviv skyline. As of now, it's safe, but just a few minutes before this, we had some attacks. We had some direct contact. Let's see what happens. Things are moving fast. It's, personally speaking, I did not think Iran would retaliate, considering how hard Israel hit them just last night, how many of the Iranian leadership was wiped out, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. Iran is retaliating heavy today, especially the ballistic missiles. The Iron Dome is not the best against ballistic missiles. Israel does have the Arrow, I think. They also have the US THAAD batteries. Those are really good against ballistic missiles. But then again, Iran is doing this thing where they just like overwhelm the defenses. So they throw like 200, 100 ballistic missiles. So few of them always get through. This is the skyline of Tel Aviv. As of now, it's safe. Let me see if I can pull across.
Tel Aviv at this time, as opposed to some of the other cities there within Israel?
Right. Well, Tel Aviv is the place where the Israeli Command Authority is sort of scattered over two cities. It's scattered over Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Tel Aviv is where the headquarters of the Israeli Defense Forces are and where the headquarters of the Mossad, the Israeli Foreign Intelligence Agency, is.
By the way, just quickly, this is why they're targeting Tel Aviv so much. The Israeli Defense Ministry headquarters was hit this morning, when just 2 hours ago, so I wouldn't even call it this morning. We don't exactly know, Adam, how many missiles were fired, but I'm guessing they're firing a lot because some of them are getting through. Now, of course, Israel has great air defenses, but it's still very, very hard to stop all the ballistic missiles. Ballistic missiles travel at a lot faster speed compared to the rockets that Hamas is shooting all the time at Israel. Those rockets, Iron Dome can easily defend against those because they are very slow and easy to take down. Ballistic missiles come at a very fast speed and they travel very quickly. So it's harder. And this morning we actually have some images of the damage too right here. Yeah. Okay, it's reloading. But here's the images of some damage. To me, this looks like a residential area. Now, this is from the morning. This is not from the recent attacks. We have some footage from the recent attack that just happened 10 minutes ago. This is it. This is the recent one. So this happened 10 minutes ago. That was definitely very clean. That was a damn. That's definitely going to be a bad hit. Yeah, let's play that again. And as you guys can see just from the screen, this is in downtown, so definitely civilian area. And Israel said this morning that if Iran targets civilian areas, Israel is going to expand the operations they have ongoing in Iran. That means it's not just going to be against military targets and nuclear targets. Israel is now going to start going against Iranian oil facilities, oil assets, and stuff like that.
Well, I think everybody's watching very closely. You're seeing a lot of statements of condemnation of the initial Israeli strikes from yesterday from neighboring states. But in order to decipher the Middle East, you have to understand that under all of these contemporary politics are very long.
So this is the crazy part, Adam. Just at the start of this year, Iran and Russia signed a security partnership. And Russia is nowhere to be seen. This just goes to show you cannot depend on Russia as an ally, because this is the exact same thing that happened in Syria. When Assad needed help, Russia was too busy in Ukraine. Iran needs help, Russia is too busy in Ukraine. In no way is Russia should be considered a military power. They have nukes. That's the only thing they got going on. They cannot spread themselves too thin. They cannot even take over Ukraine. They're actively losing ground in Ukraine if you look at year on year, how much they controlled in 2022 and how much they control now. And all these countries who are hitching their wagon to Russia are realizing that they're making a mistake.
Against Israel instead, what's happening right now is precisely what you can expect, which is that these countries are sitting quietly. They may issue pro forma condemnations, but they're waiting to see how this spins out because they understand that Iran generally is a menace to the region. And, quietly, they're wishing Israel well.
And so we'll continue to watch here on Live Now from Fox. I want to put this up on the screen. This was tweeted out by the Israeli Defense Forces not too long ago, saying once again, millions of Israelis are currently running for shelter as sirens sound all over Israel following another missile attack from Iran. You can see all of those pinpoints there on the map as those are running for shelter. So again, we've been talking here with Ilan Bergman with the American Foreign Policy Council. He's been very generous with his time. I appreciate you for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. Any final thoughts before I let you go?
No, I think it's going to be an interesting weekend. And this is obviously a conflict that is sort of beginning to reach new heights. The things that I'll be watching for is the degree to which Israel, now that Israeli population centers have been struck, what Israel does in response.
Okay, I want to show you guys something. Hopefully YouTube doesn't take me down. I want to put this disclaimer even before we watch this. This is AI. It's a satire, basically. It's comedy. It's not real, but it's very, very funny. So I want to show you guys for sure. Let's watch this. It is AI, by the way. So if anyone from YouTube is watching, don't take me down. It's not real. I'm putting
and then I'm like, this baby motherfucker better not blow up by nuclear shit, or I'm gonna go loco on this bitch. And then he blows up all my nuclear shit, and I'm like, call my generals. And they tell me, they're all dead, sir. And I'm like, assemble the army. And they're like, they're dead too, sir. So then I'm like, launch the friggin' missiles. And they're like, sir, they're gone, sir. So I'm like, what the fuck?
They got the accent exactly right, but it is fake. It's not real. Don't come after me for misinformation. It's just comedy. But we have real information. This is something I want to show you guys. Russia and Iran officially signed a 20-year strategic partnership. This was on January 19th. Still no help from Russia. In fact, Iran has spent hundreds of millions of dollars buying Russian air defenses, and they cannot detect F-35s. Iran should get a full refund. And here we have some more interceptions. Again, all this happened 10 minutes ago. The attack that was carried out was a lot smaller in scale compared to the attack that was carried out just 2-3 hours ago, but it still had a direct hit in Tel Aviv, downtown Tel Aviv. Oh, by the way, Iran had a lot of F-14s, I think back from the Shah's times. Pretty much all of them are now destroyed because of the operation Israel carried out yesterday.
Tell people to be silent. They are looking for survivors, and they will call out and then use a thermal drone to try and find anyone who is underneath a lot of this debris. You can see how these cars here flipped over from the size and power of this blast. And when you look back here, this entire block has been damaged. As we move forward here, Israel is preparing for the possibility that Iran continues these attacks. The regime says they will continue to target Israel as Israeli strikes are hitting not only their nuclear facilities, but also...
Kat's asking about the female Israeli pilot who was captured. Now, Iran is claiming they took down 2 Israeli jets today, not from last night, and one of the pilot ejected. They used a parachute, and a lot of people are claiming that, not a lot of people actually, Iranian state media said that Iran captured that pilot. Israel has denied that. Israel actually said Iran has not taken down any of their jets. Let's see if we get more confirmation from some other parties. Of course, Iran's going to say they're taking down jets. This is just propaganda 101. Pakistan did this when they were fighting India. They just started spreading misinformation about taking down 7 jets, 10 jets. I don't know how much they were claiming. They were just claiming like they took down the whole Air Force, and that news spreads fast. So Israel saying they haven't taken down anything, Iran saying they even captured a pilot.
We call on the public to listen to the Homefront Command directives and demonstrate responsibility. Do not approach these impact sites and definitely do not share these locations with anyone other than official authorities. Our officers are on high alert, and we're going to continue to be in order to best protect and serve our public. Officers of the
All right, those were some of those response there from Israel police. Wanted to play that out for you so you can get a better sense of what's happening on the ground there in the region. We're going to slide away now for a 2-minute commercial break. But again, we've been
We have more footage of just stuff getting taken down. Yeah, some of these are missiles. Some of these could be just the air defense missiles who are trying to, fight back. We have one more clip of an interception right here. Oh, wow. Wait, how did that happen? I couldn't even see that before. Yeah, Cat Chase, the US is involved. Actually, all this retaliation that Iran is carrying out, all the missiles they're sending, US is helping Israel shoot them down. And not even that, not even just US, UK is helping. US has also moved, I think, one of our aircraft carrier closer to Israel to provide better defense. And it's also Jordan, and I'm pretty sure Saudi Arabia is also helping take down drones and take down missiles that Iran is sending. The real question is, how accurate will missiles be able to get through to the Iron Dome? So that's where it's like, so Iron Dome is very effective against the rockets that Hamas has, that Hezbollah has, but Iron Dome is actually not that effective against ballistic missiles because they travel at a much faster speed compared to the rockets. But Israel has other systems. One of them is the Arrow, and the other one is, I think, the THAAD system. That's a U.S. system that we loaned under President Biden to Israel. Now, those are very good against the ballistic missiles that Iran is launching. So what Iran is trying to do, they're trying to overwhelm the systems. So they're not launching one missile or two missiles at a time. They're sending dozens, sometimes multiple dozens of missiles. So even though Israel is taking down majority of them, first of all, the debris is going to fall somewhere, and that's going to cause damages. But few missiles are still getting through and causing damages. Now, this is something we got a confirmation just a few hours ago right here, that Israel news channel confirmed that the Israeli Defense Ministry headquarters in Tel Aviv was struck by Iranian missile. They're probably not sending 1,000 at a time because they are pretty expensive, the ballistic missiles, but they're still sending a good amount. But this is the skyline of Tel Aviv. As of now, it seems things have calmed down. We got $3 from Cat Chasers. Thank you so much. Based on news on Twitter, it seems like the citizens in Tel Aviv are still in the bomb shelters. So a lot of people are still just hiding. Yeah. The Iron Beam, I don't know how accurate that would be against the ballistic missiles because, first of all, they travel very fast, and the way the beam works is it's not instant takeout. The beam has to lock in and attack something for like few seconds for it to take out, but the ballistic missiles, they travel really fast. I think like 9-10 Mach. So that's maybe tough for the beam to keep going. So the dome is actually very useful against Hamas and Hezbollah because they have rockets, which are a lot slower, and dome pretty much stops all of them. But Iran is a lot stronger military power than Hamas and Hezbollah. But last night did show that Iran's not that strong, especially I have seen some reports where Israel knew exactly what triggers an emergency meeting in the upper echelon of Iranian leadership, and they carried out those actions to make sure there's an emergency meeting. And then when 20 of the commanders met somewhere, Israel took them all out in like within 15 minutes. And all the while that was happening, they also targeted nuclear facilities and they also targeted nuclear scientists. So it's not just nuclear program and nuclear facilities that are getting destroyed, even the knowledge base that Iran has that's getting destroyed too. Yeah, how would Russia help when they can't even take Ukraine? In fact, this is actually a very bad news for Russia because Russia gets a lot of Shahed drones and even some missiles from Iran. And now Iran's preoccupied with a different war, Russia won't have as much help. But then again, they can always rely on North Korea. By the way, we have almost 1,200 people. Be sure to hit the like button down below. Let's try to see if we can get to 500 likes. This is what I mean by misinformation is going on. And it's not just Iran, both sides. This is a pro-Iranian account, I think. Iran shot down the first F-35s. That's just not true. That's just not true. Because if you reverse search the image, you can see it's an old image from 2024 that just crashed in an experiment. It wasn't getting shot down anywhere. So that's happening on both sides. And the problem is, we saw this with India-Pakistan conflict. When you get the news out first, it's a lot easier to just spread the misinformation than actually to fix it. And again, that's not even the India-Pakistan conflict. Russia is like the master in this. Every few months, Russia comes out with some kind of informational warfare that's just truly impressive. Like, Russian army is not good on the battlefield, but their information warfare tactics are like world class.
So it's a fairly large salvo, but the fact that you're hearing sort of small double digits, perhaps 10 or so, and look, this number is changing all the time, but out of that large number, that's still.
Wait, Joseph, is it actually confirmed 2 F-35s? Let me see.
Attacks have seemed to come in waves. Tom, I have to ask you, when it comes to these defense systems, is that important for them to be able to take a second and regroup? When these attacks
Tonight, I wish
because the missiles will be launched, there'll be a little bit of a lull afterwards.
Yeah, you know, it's not just about how many missiles a country has, but rather how many launchers they have for the missiles. And so it is in the interest of the attacker to group their shots, to mass their fires with a lot of missiles at the same time. That actually poses a significant technical challenge for the missile defense side, for the defender, because there's limitations on how many objects a radar can track, and likewise the number of interceptors that can go out at any given time. And so the attacker has to reload, and so likewise does the defender. And so more larger salvos, frankly, on both sides is certainly an advantage. And so there are those lulls because they have to do those sorts of things.
And so as we're continuing to watch, this is some video again from earlier this hour as this
Yeah, I don't see any reputable source saying that Iran took down 2 F-35s. That's definitely not confirmed. I have seen Iranian state medias claim it, but then again, they also claim that they arrested a jet pilot who parachuted in Iran, but Israel has denied that. They said there's no pilot that's in Iranian custody.
aftermath. Can you sort of speak to what that looked like? And is that an impressive number? I mean, 34, these attacks, we've been watching as these missiles have been heading there. 34 seems wounded, no dead at this point that have been reported. Can you sort of speak to it?
Yeah, I hope that's the case in terms of the no fatalities. I will frankly be pleasantly surprised if that remains the case whenever you have this many number of missiles coming in and they're kind of hitting indiscriminately in an urban area, especially. You know, it's hard to know.
Have you guys seen the
in terms of what
tweets Trump has
exactly the Iranians were
put out
targeting.
recently? He's like,
Clearly
we're
not
hoping
targeting
Iran
Tel
gets
Aviv.
back to the
They could be
negotiating
targeting, say,
table,
the airport
even though some
or
of the
the,
people will not be able
nuclear
to make it
plant
back.
or any number of
And
other,
then the reporter
military-
asked him, like, who do you think Israel is killing the leadership who are involved in these negotiations? And then Trump was like, well, they're not dying of COVID. It wasn't on clip. I would pull it up,
So
but it
I
wasn't
guess I
on
would
clip.
say
It was
that
just a
if
text
they're hitting
interview.
that percentage, if they're intercepting that percentage of them, and furthermore, if the casualties so far are just on the wounded side, I would say that's actually fortuitous.
And so we're still
I don't think any country is going to get involved, Dr. Jack. I don't think anyone. Again, Iran has a security pact with Russia, but I think we can all assume that Russia does not have the capabilities to get involved in a different war. First of all, they're already struggling in the war that they started, the senseless invasion, and I don't think they have the power to just start another one. This is what, after the retaliation that Iran carried out 2 hours ago, this is what the Israeli Prime Minister said. So let's listen to this real quick.
Tonight, I wish to speak to you, the proud people of Iran. We're in the midst of one of the greatest military operations in history, Operation Rising Lion. The Islamic regime, which has oppressed you for nearly 50 years, threatens to destroy my country, the State of Israel. The objective of Israel's military operation is to remove this threat, both the nuclear threat and the ballistic missile threat to Israel. And as we achieve our objectives, we're also clearing the path for you to achieve your objective, which is freedom. In the past 24 hours, we've taken out top military commanders, senior nuclear scientists, the Islamic regime's most significant enrichment facility, and a large portion of its ballistic missile arsenal. More is on the way. The regime doesn't know what hit them. They don't know what will hit them. The nation of Iran and the nation of Israel have been true friends since the days of Cyrus the Great. And the time has come for you to unite around your flag and your historic legacy by standing up for your freedom from an evil and oppressive regime. It has never been weaker. This is your opportunity to stand up and let your voices be heard. Woman, life, freedom. Zan, Zandegi, Azadi. As I said yesterday and many times before, Israel's fight is not with you. It's not with you, the brave people of Iran, whom we respect and admire. Our fight is with our common enemy, a murderous regime that both oppresses you and impoverishes you. Brave people of Iran, your light will defeat the darkness. I'm with you. The people of Israel are with you.
All right, we have this funny meme I want to show you. This is what Middle East, this is how Houthis fight. Actually, recently I noticed where step 1, release badass trailers showing your fighters training in the desert. Step 2, give speech promising to annihilate your enemies. Step 3, die. That's what happened with the Iranian IRGC commanders. All of them, they had these big plans. Iran has like some crazy propaganda videos, very, very high quality. Even we don't produce that, and we are a YouTube channel. We should be producing high quality videos, but Iran produces a lot. But then when it's time to use them, they just disappear. And we have an interesting thing right here. Let's watch this.
Now to bring in.
A lot of people were asking in the chat if the U.S. was involved. Well, there's a report on this, so let's quickly watch that.
Brett Baer, who is with us as well with his, you know what, first we're going to take a listen to this most recent barrage, and then we'll go to Brett. Watch.
Okay, this is some short-range systems. Stay here, Yaniv. Pull out a little bit.
By the way, this was the earlier retaliation, so one that happened around like 2 p.m. Eastern. This is not from now. This was earlier. It was a lot stronger, a lot more rockets, a lot more missiles came in during that retaliation. I think the one that just happened, it was a lot smaller in scale.
Okay, there's just a massive amount of fire coming to Tel Aviv right now. Yaniv, get ready to pull it off the sticks. Get off the sticks. All right, let's go. Time to go. Okay. Guys, come on, everyone move. Everyone move now. Stay with us, stay with us. Pick up the gear, let's go.
Those chilling moments just a short time ago. That was our Trey Yingst reporting from a balcony in Tel Aviv, and this is the site of one of where these explosions hit. We're waiting for more word on injured, but at this point, in the early information that we've received, it does not appear to be a large-scale injury in terms of casualties.
We just got confirmation like 10, 15 minutes ago. There was one death. Some middle-aged woman did die, and over 40 injuries. Over 40 people were injured, and one death.
On the ground, so we'll get more information on that as we can. The third wave, as we have mentioned, has been underway, heading for Israel. President Trump saying, quote, nobody knows if Iran still has a nuclear program after Israel's strikes, which began last night. He also just spoke to Bret Baier, and Bret joins us now, Fox News chief political anchor and executive editor of Special Report. Bret, good to have you with us. Obviously, we're watching history unfold here, an enormous Israeli attack on Iranian nuclear sites and scientists. And
truly a historic attack, because some of the reports we have where it took almost 20 years to plan something like this. I don't know how true that is. 20 years is a long time for them to plan this ahead, but I'm sure this was like one of the longest planned attacks for sure. The way it was carried out, 20 commanders and 6 nuclear scientists were all killed within 15 minutes. So everything was activated, everything went down at the same time. While all that was happening, Israel had drone bases inside Iran that sent out drones targeting air defenses in Iran. So first Israel took out the air defenses, as many as they could, and then the missiles and the jets went in. All the while, they were also carrying out covert operations, assassinating high-level military and nuclear scientists.
Questions about the U.S. and our pre-understanding of this and our involvement at this point. Good to have you with us, Bret.
Yeah, good to be with you. I'm coming from London, and I can tell you that President Trump clearly has been reaching out. I've talked to him a couple of times over the past couple of days. He's talked to a number of different reporters expressing what he sees in this situation. It is clear from all of those conversations that there was a lot of coordination behind the scenes with the Israelis and a lot of knowledge about specific details. His conversations between and with Prime Minister Netanyahu, including today, speaking with Netanyahu, clearly formed his knowledge of what was happening. And his belief is that Iran has taken a really tough hit here. When I talked to him earlier today, he said the Iranians were hit 10 times worse than they thought they would be. They weren't ready to negotiate. I think they may be now. We'll see. You know, this comes, as we've been reporting, as this is really extensive as far as the decapitation effort, trying to take out senior Iranian leadership, the effort to take out Iranian nuclear scientists, very successful according to the Israelis and other U.S. officials, saying 9 out of 10 possibly of the top nuclear scientists were taken out, as well as other top leaders. And then obviously the nuclear facilities, as you've been talking.
I didn't know they only had 9 nuclear scientists, so almost that is insane. So big part of their nuclear program is gone. They cannot even rebuild it because the people who had the knowledge are also getting assassinated.
About. I think we're just at the beginning of this, as you heard from Trey Yingst earlier and Jennifer. The Israelis are suggesting the U.S. is helping on the defense of Israel. U.S. military not commenting on that yet. But this could be the first of many waves, both back and forth, from the Israelis going into Iran and then the Iranians retaliating with what we're seeing live in Israel.
But we're just getting some information here that the Saudi Crown Prince and President Trump have been in a phone call discussing these.
Now, publicly, Saudi is saying that they're not happy with what Israel is doing, but I doubt that's actually true, because publicly they have to put up this united front in Arab where all the countries hate Israel. But before
the disputes through diplomatic means. And, you know, it really sheds.
By the way, we have almost 2,500 people. Be sure to hit the like button down below if you haven't already. It really does help us out tremendously.
Light. Then you have Netanyahu chiming in and talking about the fact that Iran has never been weaker militarily, politically, in terms of the structure of the remaining leadership in the government, which has been decimated, as have their proxies. So you have interviewed the Saudi Crown Prince and all of the players here over the last year and a half or so. What does this say about the larger shift and Iran's vulnerability and how the power structure may move because of what we've watched?
Well, I think that's a great question. One in which I think Prime Minister Netanyahu and the Israelis believed that this was the time to act. If negotiations were stalled, if the U.S. essentially had said, you do what you have to do, they believed since they struck in October that the air defenses inside Iran were really taken out significantly and had not fully been rebuilt, enabling perhaps a window that may have been closing to take out some of these targets. As far as the Middle East, you're right. The Crown Prince is now sitting in a position of prominence as far as trying to get different parties to talk, trying to get all of the parties together. He definitely spearheads the leadership along with the UAE in the GCC countries and has a significant role in talking about where the Middle East is going. I think what they say publicly in the Middle East in some of these countries may be a little bit different than what they say privately. And they would like this to be over soon, but understand Israel's actions tonight.
You know, Brett, Netanyahu is speaking now to a message to the Iranian people and saying, I am with you. The Israeli people are with you. And we know how strong the Iranian resistance is. It has been very difficult for them to be forceful within Iran. Many of them have been imprisoned. Many of them have been killed for standing up to the regime. And you have a lot of Iranian resistance in other cities around the world that have been trying to support it. But you have to wonder if this is a moment that Netanyahu sees as potentially a time to overthrow this leadership in favor of the people who want to take Tehran and the country back to a place where it was a much more productive, vibrant culture and economy.
I think that's part of the goal here, regime change, and clearly stirring what they believe is a very young population inside Iran, that they saw the green shoots before of revolution in the Green Revolution in 2009 that was never really fully supported by the U.S. or others, and was then eventually put down by the Iranian regime. There may be indications, and remember that this is probably 8 to 9 months in the making, according to Israeli officials. And Axios had a great layout from various officials about how detailed this was, how much Israeli intelligence and Mossad had been active on the ground to find not only the leadership.
Yeah, exactly. This Israeli attack is a lot similar to the Ukrainian attack because Israel built drone bases inside Iran, and those bases activated before the operation started, and the drones went ahead and attacked the air defenses inside Iran, and then the jets and missiles flew in. Similar to how Ukraine carried out the Operation Spiderweb in Russia just, I think, 2 weeks ago, or maybe a week and a half. But the other part of this is like, imagine how exposed US is. China owns, or Chinese billionaires own a lot of land near U.S. Air bases and U.S. military bases here in the United States. And China produces most drones in the world compared to any other country. Imagine if they want to attack Taiwan, what would be the first thing they would do? They would try to target our B-2 fleets. They would try to target our Air Force and everything here. Pretty similar to what Japan was hoping in World War II. But China has a lot more scale, a lot more access to the mainland US than Japan had back then. Basically deal a bigger hit to the US before even starting the Taiwan invasion. And then, of course, China also has access to TikTok. They could spread misinformation like crazy on US social media directly to 130 million American citizens because of TikTok.
How to get them together, also the scientists, but also perhaps having a sense of where that revolution flavor is on the ground at Tehran.
Absolutely. When you look at the layers, you look at October 7th, which clearly was an incredibly painful moment for Israel and also a painful moment for Israeli intelligence and the IDF to have had that heinous attack on so many people happen under their noses. And then you see these extraordinary executions of operations like the Beeper operation in Lebanon that have completely dismantled the leadership of so many of these proxies, Brett. They are back on their game in Israel in intelligence when you talk about the extraordinary nature of this attack last night.
And then think about the killing of the Hamas leader inside Iran.
Yes.
That was essentially planted in a home 6 months before. Then you have the beeper and walkie-talkie, as you mentioned, those attacks and how detailed that was. And then you read a little bit about the attacks that happened just last night, including the prepositioning of drones inside Iran that took out missile and ballistic missile launch sites.
Now, this is how devastating the attack was. Almost everyone in the senior leadership is gone, politically and militarily. The whole army. I think this guy was the head of the IRGC, and this guy was someone important too. One of them is the head of the Quds Force, which is an Iranian force that's very strong, and the IRGC, all gone. Only person who's left standing now is the Ali Khamenei, Ayatollah. But Israel has been attacking his compound. This just in, roughly, I guess, 50 minutes ago, Israel launches strikes on Tehran's Pastor neighborhood. This is where the supreme leader lives and even the president. Let's see if we have any live streams.
Exiting the protected area will only be possible after receiving explicit instructions. You must continue to act according to the home front command's instructions. So also want to put this tweet up.
Oh, wow. U.S. Embassy in Baghdad is under fire. But again, we really scaled down. I don't think we completely shut this down. But 2-3 days before the whole thing started, so 2-3 days before last night, U.S. really did evacuate a lot of people out of Iraq. That was one of the agencies that we really shut down. But I don't know if it was completely shut down. I think all the non-essential people were taken out, but there were probably some people there. Let's see what happens here. Something like this could be like drawing U.S. into the war very strongly, because so far we have not been involved. Only thing we have done is shoot down the drones and the missiles that Iran is sending to Israel. That's it. We were not involved in the offensive operations. We did not provide intelligence, or we did not provide any kind of support.
That Israel initially announced this targeted attack that they had launched on Iran. In response today, we've just been seeing the fallout with Iran also responding. Let's first break down the very latest, this targeted attack. When you heard that Israel had launched this, what was your first response?
That, you can always know when you start a war, but you don't know when and how it will end. Israel thought it will be a fast and a relatively fast operation. The predictions are about 2 to 3 weeks. But Iran is a large and still strong enemy to Israel. So
Netanyahu said that U.S. helped in support and stuff. You did not publicly help in any offensive operations. On top of that, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, publicly said U.S. was not involved. We warn Iran to not attack U.S. bases, because Iran, they have this one card every time something happens. They're like, oh, we'll attack U.S. bases in the Middle East. And that's why we actually transferred a lot of anti-drone missiles that were supposed to go to Ukraine. We promised them to Ukraine, but we transferred them to Middle East just 4 days ago, or I think a week ago, because we kind of knew this was coming. Maybe the administration knew full on what Israel had planned. But I saw some report yesterday that even Israel is surprised how well this went. They knew what they had, and they knew this was going to be devastating to Iran, but they didn't know this was going to be this successful. 20 Iranian commanders wiped out, 6 nuclear scientists. They have attacked at least 2 nuclear facilities that we know of, probably more. So definitely a huge attack. But for anyone who's just joining in, I have one of the funniest videos that I just found. I want to play that again. Where is it?
And so for people who are maybe not keeping up with the conflict closely, I have to ask you, Dr. Adzili, can you break down the relationship that we've truly seen in the last few years between Israel and Iran? It's been contentious for so many years, with Iran also sending another...
I found the video. Again, before I play it, this is AI. It's just comedy. It's not real, but it's truly funny, so I want to show it to everyone.
And then I'm like, this baby motherfucker better not blow up by nuclear shit, or I'm gonna go loco on this bitch. And then he blows up all my nuclear shit, and I'm like, call my generals. And they tell me, they're all dead, sir. And I'm like, assemble the army. And they're like, they're dead too, sir. So then I'm like, launch the friggin' missiles. And they're like, sir, they're gone, sir. So I'm like, what the fuck?
So anyone from YouTube's watching, don't take me down for misinformation. This is clearly fake. It's just comedy. It's just comedy. But I think the Iranian retaliation has slowed down.